Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah, and I am loving, living, and inspiring through classical music, shared experiences, and lessons learned. So, here are 5 reasons why I love travel and why you should too. So, as a brief introduction, I just want to say that as a kid growing up, I always was intrigued by the idea of travel, especially international travel, but it was something that I never really believed that I could do because I had never done it before. Like, I had done statewide travel, but not going out of the country. I honestly thought it was something that either rich people do or people who are retired who've saved up all of their money. It wasn't until college where I attended a presentation where they were talking about a study abroad program. And during that presentation, I honestly felt quite jealous of the people because it sounded so exciting. And in my head, I was thinking this must be for rich people because how could they even be able to do that? So in the presentation, they said it's actually less expensive to travel abroad with all the expenses including of the flight and the living expenses and the tuition than it is to actually have the tuition that at the school that we were attending, which that was the seed that planted into my mind that, oh, it actually is possible. So I do plan on making a video on how you could start out with saving and researching. But for right now, I'm just going to talk about the things I love about it and the things that you'll probably love about it too if you get started or already do travel. So first reason why I love traveling is because you see a different perspective of life. Actually, this is probably my favorite quote. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. This is from the song Say Hey by Michael Franti. But I just always love that line in the song because it's really, for me, it's really true. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. There are so many things that when I've stepped out and traveled, I didn't even know existed. Different perspectives, different ways of life that truly taught me so much as a person. Number 2, it helps you to fulfill yourself, because if travel is something like, if you have a bucket list and travel is something that you always want to do, then do it. Don't wait until you're in your retirement years to do these things. By that point, you're going to be tired. You're not going to have as much energy to do all the walking that requires with travel. So do it while you're young. Save the money, make priorities for how you're saving money so that it's actually possible. How can you fill up someone else's cup if your cup is not full itself? So reason number 2 why I love travel is because it fulfills me. It's something that I need to do. I had to get it out of my system the first time I did it, and unfortunately, as soon as you start doing it, they say you get something called the travel bug, which makes you want to keep traveling, and that has definitely happened to me. The countries I've been to, I'm not going to stop there. I want to continue to always do that because it's something that I feel is a need to do. Which brings me to my third point, number 3, which is travel teaches you about yourself. Again, travel teaches you about yourself. There's so many moments, especially when you are traveling abroad, where you find what you're made out of. And I think, traveling with other people, you could still learn lessons about yourself. Whether or not you truly enjoyed the thing that you were wanting to see, or it just depends on where you go as well. Like, for example, one of my first really big international travels was going to Ghana, and so I was with my husband for that. And yes, being with him, I learned a lot about myself, just going over there, because all these things intertwine. You get a different perspective. You see how you were living your life and where you're from and how it's different elsewhere. But I will say this is even more powerful when it comes to learning about yourself if you travel solo. If you travel by yourself, that's when you really learn what you're made of. When you're the person who has to carry all of your stuff and there's no one there to help you. When you're the person who has to just be super aware of your surroundings all the time. Like when you're on your own, you got to do that. And that taught me that what I am made of, and that I do have what it takes to, be on my own, at least for a little bit. I've also learned something about myself, especially if you go to a country that doesn't speak your native language. For example, I've been to Italy twice, and the first time I went, I had spent all this time learning, trying my best to learn some Italian phrases from the app Duolingo. And when I got there, I found that I was kind of afraid to have the courage to speak to people for directions, like natives of Italy, because I was afraid that I would pronounce something wrong and, they would, laugh or criticize. I don't even know. I realized that I really needed to put myself out there, get the courage to be bold and to just do it. And it really didn't happen much until the second time I had gone. I think a bug just hit me in the nose. The second time I had gone, when I had gone to Italy on my own, I was forced to talk to people on my own. And I learned that if I just get over that initial step of being afraid and just go for it and do it, there's so many cool things that you can learn about people if you can do it. So travel teaches you so much about yourself. Reason number 4 why I love travel is that it takes you to a different place. Now, I'm not, obviously, literally, you go to another place, of course. But what I'm talking about is how travel takes you to a different place in your mind. So when I first started working, as a way to cope with the stress and anxiety I was feeling, I literally would the way I would cope with it was just daydreaming about travel. Something was hard or a struggle at work, I would just literally take my mind to another place. I couldn't think about the stresses anymore, and I would think about how, what I planned on doing when the specific place I'm talking about is Italy for this one. What I was going to do over there, how beautiful the landscape was going to be, what it was going to be like. I would just fantasize about all of those things. And that feeling, they say, I saw a article about this. I'll see if I can put this in the description below, about how simply planning your trip or your vacation gives you the same feelings that you get as if you were actually traveling, which I think is pretty cool. Because when you're on vacation, you're not worrying, like that wonderful feeling of just letting go and letting loose and relaxing. You get that same feeling when you plan for it. And that's another reason why travel, I think, is so awesome for everybody. And my last point for why I love travel at the moment, I could probably come up with a zillion reasons more, but what I can think of right now, number 5 is travel for me has changed me. And I guarantee that if you go traveling yourself, that it will change you. Because, what do they say? Travel's the one thing that you won't regret spending your money on. That's not the quote, but it's something kind of like that. You're never going to regret the experience that you had when you traveled. It's the one thing you can spend your money on that actually makes, that's what it is. It's the one thing that you spend your money on that makes you richer as a person. It's a great investment in yourself. You know, as a kid, I used to love going to Myrtle Beach. That's in the US, it's in South Carolina. That was like the most exciting thing in the world to me. I went back again in college, and again, it was super exciting. But when you travel internationally, when you've been to Capri in Italy, when you've been to Florence, when you've been to Rome, when you've been and seen the beaches and the ocean in Jamaica, Myrtle Beach isn't that exciting anymore. Don't get me wrong, I'll still enjoy it, but it truly opens your eyes to a different life, to a different style. And I can't even remember my own thinking or who I was before that, because it's changed me that much. So in short, my 5 reasons I love to travel are: number 1, you see a different perspective. Number 2, you are fulfilling yourself, you're filling up your own cup. Number 3, it teaches you about yourself. Number 4, it takes you to a better place, both literally and in your mind. And number 5, it changes you as a person. If you want to travel in your life, just do it. Make the plans, take the action, start planning now. Even if you were not going to be able to save up the money, it's going to take you like 5 years to do it. It took me 5 years for me to do my first trip to Italy, to save the money on the side. Plan it now though. You have to start now so that you can be ready to do whatever it is you want to do in the future. So if this was valuable to you, leave a comment below. Let me know what are the reasons why you love traveling, and see you next time. Bye.